It wasn't until I was 25 that the memories returned. Up until then, I had never really cared about it. I had never really thought about it. Like something would come up on the news that would remind me of it, or somebody would say something in conversation that would remind me of it. But I didn't really care. I had great friends, I had an amazing career, like life was going good. But then everything changed in my mid-20s. The memories of the abuse returned. It's like they wouldn't leave me alone. Now I had a strategy. I thought that what I should do is fight them away, let them disappear, let them dissolve. 2 years passed and I realised that I wasn't getting anywhere with this. They were just growing in strength. It was like they had me on my knees. I wasn't sure what to do. But then I realised that I needed to do something different. So I thought about speaking to somebody for the first time. I was with friends and I was thinking, I'll do it now. But then I would retract. It was just too scary. Then I'd be with friends on another occasion thinking, right, come on, just do it now. But I just couldn't go through with it. But then finally, I actually did it. I spoke out loud about my experience to a close friend. And the reaction that I got was just incredible. It took me by absolute surprise. I felt strong, I felt confident, and I felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. Now, this encouraged me to continue speaking to one more person at a time as the years went on. And with each time I spoke, I could feel myself growing in strength, growing in confidence with my story. It was like I was holding it up high in victory. I started wondering how other people were dealing with their experience and memories. I decided to try and find out, so I started Googling keyword searches and I found chat rooms, like hundreds of chat rooms. People explaining their pain and their suffering. I thought, I've got to try and do something about this. I thought I should take my story public. And how was I going to do that? Now, I knew about open mic nights in London, and I knew that they were events where you could turn up at the door, you could sign up, and you get 5 minutes on stage to perform what you want. So I thought that would be a great idea. So I went as a storyteller and I started to tell my story on the stages in London. Now, there was a problem with this. These events were in busy pubs and busy bars around London. It was mostly musicians and singers. The environment was noisy. People were drinking, people were chatting, people weren't paying attention to the performance all the time. So my story didn't really fit in. But I knew if I wanted to grow in confidence, I had to keep speaking. Now, there were a couple of nights where things were really terrible. One event organiser cut my microphone halfway through my story and said that they didn't want to hear anymore. I literally couldn't believe it. Then on another night, a member of the audience stood up and he goes, "Didn't you know this is nighttime entertainment? And you come here talking about kids getting touched? Get off the stage." Like, I literally couldn't believe it. A member of the audience stood up and started shouting at this man, and then another member of the audience, and it just caused this massive argument. I didn't know what to do. I just dropped the microphone and I walked out. But I knew I had to keep going, had to keep telling my story and getting confident with it. After time, I started experimenting with different ways of performing. I put music in the background. So my life began to change when I was 24. The memories of my abuse became stronger than before. It was like they were in my face and I couldn't get rid of them. I told my story from a different angle. And I was going in and I could see that at the start of the performance, the audiences were feeling like uncomfortable, but at the end there would be a standing ovation. And that's when I realised our stories are so powerful. Our stories are so important. People actually want to understand and learn more about this topic to help the prevention. And I think sometimes it's up to us to hold our stories up high in victory and show everybody that we can be strong through this. So, I'm speaking out because I've got so much to say, to communicate this subject in a different way. And I don't know where this is going to go, but it's important that I put some time into it. Thank you.